So this is my giving polar equation that I have to do. So my equation is r equal 3 sine 3 theta. So looking at this equation and looking at my note, I know that this is called Rose curves equation. So there are two types for the Rose curves. One is a sine n theta or a cos n theta. And if the n is even, then the rows we have two n petals. But if it is odd, then the rows we have based on the n petals. And on the right, this is my data. So this is just a list of plot point that I plot here. Every single of them, or only on the right, not on the left, because they are all negative. So we're gonna start graphing. So remember that they have to have three petals, because for the equation I was giving three sines, three theta. Oh, this is just 1/3 that I just finished drawing to make it as easy as you can know. So for the data, I'm just gonna explain how I got the first petals. For the theta at pi over 6, the radius is, no, just go with the first one, I forgot. For the theta, it is 0, and for the radius, we also have 0. Just gonna plot one point here. And for the second one, for theta, I have pi over 6, and the radius is 3. So we're just gonna graph it like this. Looking at the line pi over 6, and because we have the radius of 3, we're just gonna start graphing like this, like going off like that. This is the half of the one petal that we need to draw. And for the second half right here, we need to look at pi. For the petal, we need to look at pi over 3, and the radius is 0. So looking up here, pi over 3 right here, we're just gonna, because the radius is going back to 0. It's mean going back. It's not equal to 0. It's mean going back to 0. So we're just gonna try like this, going back to 0. And for the second petals, this is -3, by the way. For the petal, we have pi over 2. The radius is -3. So because it is -3, we're gonna draw under here. But first we need to find pi over 2. So pi over 2 is right here. Because it's -3, it's somewhat right here. So I'm just gonna draw 1, 2, 3. It's right there. So we're just gonna draw like that. -3 is actually -3 is right there. That's right. Sorry, don't mind that. And we already have the half of the second petal. So for the full petal, we need to draw the half left. What I left. For 2, and looking at the fourth one, for the petal we have 2 pi over 3, and the radius is 0. So we're just gonna find 2 pi over 3. So 2 pi over 3, 2 pi over 3 is right here. And remember that it's going back to 0. It's not equal to 0. So for this is right there. So it's going back to 0. And lastly, we need a last petal. So let's find out where it is. For the petal, we have 5 pi over 6, and the radius going to 3. And it's right here. And we need to find 5 pi over 6. It's right here. So it is equal to 6. So it's gonna go right there. based on this is the negative positive line, r radius, and this is negative, so it's not to be go right there. You need to draw half of that. And what is the half left? We need to find it out. So for the half left, we have pi. The theta is equal to pi, and the radius is equal to 0. So pi is right here, this line, the whole line, and it's going back to 0. So we need to draw that going back to 0. And it is how we got into 3 petals for the equation 3 sine 3 petals. Thank you for listening. I hope I get a great score.